Morse Media presents A Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast that will help you live the life you've been given. Join in the conversation. Hi, guys. We're here. And thank you for joining me. I am so sorry. I'm not sorry that I'm crying. It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you for joining me on A Girlfriend's Guide to Life podcast. We are here. We are back. And I'm so excited. These are tears of joy. So we're late because my sweet guest, was in a car accident just half of a mile away. And she made it. She persevered. And I'm crying because that is a sign that God wants me to continue to do this. Every week that I have to prepare for this, I have to dig deep to do it because I know that God wants me to do it. And so we're here. Thank you. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you for all of my fellow fans and people that love me, my loves that ask me, where are you? We're here. So today's topic, we are going to talk about a topic that is near and dear my heart. It is something that I've experienced. But today my guest and I are going to dispel the myth of emancipation. You can survive it. And I'm here to tell you how. So with that, my guest, Sparkle Charles, is in studio with us, and she's going to tell us how she made it to the other side, or making it to the other side. Welcome, my love.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for even being courageous, like with your tears and your passion, and just giving and shedding light on, the fact that foster care is real. Foster care is real, and it affects a lot of families, and it affects a lot of us. And it's kind of one of those unspoken things that doesn't really get talked about as much. And, people carry around that experience, sometimes as a stigma, rarely as a badge of honor. So to see you doing that and encouraging me to press forward and continue to do that is really awesome. I'm really grateful to you.
Well, thank you for having the courage to share it. I found you. I've known you for years, but it wasn't until you posted your story 2 days in a row. I never shared that with you. And I was like, what? All these years, I never knew. And it wasn't until you posted your story.
Yeah.
Twice, 2 days. I guess you woke up and was like, I'm going to tell my story today. And with that, I was like, and to know who you are and to see you, I had no idea. And that's what people say about me. Like, I had no idea, but I had no idea. So tell us about you, about Sparkle.
Okay, yeah, so most people know me as Sparkle. Some people call me Charlie that know me from school. But basically, I kind of grew up in a foster situation, in a kinship care situation, because my own birth parents were not able to raise me. They kind of, succumbed to different things of the street life. My father was in and out of incarceration from the time that I was born up until really throughout my childhood. But he didn't come back into my life until I was 3 years old, was when he was first released. So even when I was first born, there was no opportunity for him. And then my mother, unfortunately, kind of fell into hard substances and suffered the effects from that still to this day. So thankfully, we had a distant relative, a family member, who, she didn't have any children of her own. Well, she had raised my older godbrother, Monte. Shout out to him. But yeah, so she didn't have any children of her own at that time. So she was able to take me in and raise me with her, living in her parents' house. So I grew up with her, her father, her mother, and they just became a family for me. And she did the very best that she could. But I guess it's funny you point out that I did share my story because, like you said, a lot of people did not know. And I guess that is the aspect of my identity that I'm unpacking right now as an adult
That's powerful.
it's just okay, well, who am I in terms of this experience? How has this affected me? And what does it make me? Because for so long I just buried it. I just kind of said, "Oh no, this is my mom." Forget that other mom. In so many words. Unfortunately, we're much closer now. Thankfully,
Is that birth mom Anita?
my birth mom.
Okay, is Anita? You said what's her name?
Oh, I'm sorry. But her name is.
Oh, you don't have to say it.
Okay.
I thought you said her name.
Oh no, I think maybe it was something I said, but no, yeah, no. Thankfully, we're a lot closer now.
Okay.
But growing up, I kind of just wanted to keep that life separate.
Okay.
And it was kind of what was impressed upon me. It was, this is your mom who's raising you. She's taking care of you. She's doing the very best she can. Forget that other mom. You don't need her. Not in so many
words.
Right. Not in so many words, but just in the whole spirit of the thing. Okay. It was pretty much yeah.
And how long did you have that relationship? Did you suppress your relationship with your birth mom?
Until adulthood.
Okay.
Yeah, until adulthood. It was at some point where I finally realized, in so many words, she's sick.
Okay.
And I started to deepen my relationship with God. I started to get to know my Heavenly Father. And through that, He taught me to have compassion for her instead of frustration or disappointment or any of the other things that I was raised to feel.
Yes.
Because it was a lot of times where, she would show up to an event and I would not know how to introduce her. She would show up and it was a big surprise.
Were you embarrassed by her when she would show up?
Oh gosh, unfortunately, I hate to admit, but I think because she was still living in the effects of her abuse, and she looked like a person off the street.
I understand.
And it would be the fact that I was growing up in this community. My mom who raised me put me in private schools and stuff like that. She was big on education when I was growing up. I always had friends. I had parties. So it was like my life is so different from that when she would come around, it would be a disconnect. It would be embarrassing, humiliating, and confusing for everybody, especially me.
Okay. And did you ever feel the love for her that you like, or did you just suppress it? You had it so suppressed down that you could not feel love towards her.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And in it was a hurtful situation. Okay. Because I had all these ideas about what a mom should be. And when I would visit with her, I remember she would call me random times throughout the year telling me, I'm still going to get you something for your birthday. It would be October. My birthday's in June. My birthday was like 4 months prior. And she, I'm still going to get you something for your birthday, and it would be like, wow, like, you're my mom. That's what they tell me, but I don't see it. How, so in my adulthood, I've started to unpack why those things happen. And the reason why I even shared it, because I normally process things personally just on my own. But the reason why I started to share it is because recently I have started to get more involved with the system than I ever have before, even in my life. So I started to see that the struggles that I faced dealing with a mom who, just fell short in that area, these are common struggles a lot of people are facing, and nobody knows how to impact them.
Amen. Have you forgiven your mother, your birth mom?
Thankfully, yeah, I have. Yeah, I can honestly say that I have. And we have a great relationship now by my standards. Like, it's
on your
night
terms.
And day. Yes, it's night and day different from what it was when I was growing up. I really see her heart. She prays for me. Yeah. She checks on me. She'll call me. And she's a lot more stable as well, So she's made changes in her life too.
That makes me happy. I feel like easier when you are moving past the things that hurt you and you can see it for what it is. Meaning, like, so imagine if you were still mad at her, how you, that feeling that we already feel, that would be 20 times more tighter.
No, you're right.
So the fact that you allow that, like, you can woo-sigh in that and work through the other stuff that we have to face outside of the things that people don't talk about. So what happened after when you graduated high school? Like, so tell us, you told us up until your education. After, so you, what happened then?
Yeah, that's when it got a little tough. That's when, because all my life, like I said, I was able to push out my birth life, like the fact that it was completely dysfunctional, not fit for me, all through my childhood. You know, they wanted to give me the best childhood, and they really kind of did. You know, they did the best that they could. It wasn't perfect, of course, but it was good. But once I became an adult, that's when I realized I was on my own. That's when I started to notice the difference between me, myself, and my friends in college who had parents who loved them and supported them and were there like every step of the way. Not to say that my family didn't, but the unique way that I was parented, my mom didn't date. So she did not believe in having a man around me. Okay. So she waited until my childhood was completely over to start dating.
So was that graduation? Was that 15? Like, what did that look like?
Well, I would say it was like right after my first year. Because also I had my daughter when I was 18. So we stayed at home for like that first year, thankfully. But then my grandfather, you know, my mom's dad, who also helped raise me, he passed away that year.
Oh.
Yeah, he passed away. And so everything changed when he passed away. Life completely turned around. That's when she started dating. The guy that she's with moved in. I had to leave. Me and my daughter. Yeah, we had to leave, you know, because of him. Like, he kind of wasn't looking for this whole family type of thing. He wanted his relationship with my mom. So, being that she had postponed that my whole childhood, she felt entitled to do that, you know. And so it was like, okay, now what do I do? You know, now I'm really on my own. Now I can take advantage of all these foster youth resources, right? That exactly, that I had no idea about before, and I had no knowledge of, because I just never thought of them and never needed them like that.
Yeah, because your family didn't need them. The state felt that they didn't need them, so they didn't advocate them for you, because you have the financial resources to have things, to go to therapy, to go to the doctor, to all those things. But what happened? So when you left, when you had to leave at 18, did you still have a social worker? Did you have?
I had nothing.
So how did you get a part? How did you get the resources without? How did you advocate? How did you know to advocate for yourself for the resources?
Well, honestly, at that point, and I don't know if this should be embarrassing, or if this other people, if they did this, that it might be embarrassing, but I went completely homeless. Like, I had no choice. So I'm like, okay, you know, I have sisters. My sisters at that time, they had moments where they didn't have a place to go.
Yeah.
They had moments where they needed to, you know, sleep on someone's couch. I did not have people that I could really just lean on and gravitate towards. My mom who raised me was all that I had. So once that was cut off, I had nothing. So yeah, I'm like, okay, well, let me just confront the fact that I'm really on my own. I really don't have my mom. I really don't have my dad. You know, I don't have all these people that I see, you know, oh, you know, you stay at home for 5 more years, you know, it's while you sort things out. I don't have this luxury. I have a daughter I have to take care of. I have to finish college. Like, I have goals. So I went completely homeless, and I went to, you know, the government. I told them my situation. I told them, you know, I'm a former foster youth. I'm a teen mom. Like, please help me. I have nowhere to go. I completely humbled myself in my situation, and I just believed that something would open up. You know. Yeah, it did.
So
yeah.
talk about that. Talk about your first place. And
yeah, thankfully.
talk about when you got your first place with your daughter, and now you're in college. Talk about being a mom, a single mom, as a college student, as a young woman, trying to flow through life alone. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah, no, it was. Oh, it was a tough ride. It was really tough. And, thank you for even pointing that out, because you're right. It's really difficult. Like, it's difficult for people to finish college, period.
Yes. But to be an emancipated youth on your own for the first time with another human that you have to feed, that you barely know how to feed yourself. Now you need transportation. And, oh, my God, I need to get medical benefits. Oh, let me not forget to get my classes for the semester.
Right.
Oh, where am I getting the money for books? And
that first time when your car breaks down, what do I do?
You have a tire. Your tire is flat.
What do I do? I had to figure out life on my own at that point. For real.
I get it.
I had people I would call. Okay, what do I do? What do I say to the people? Okay, when you move into an apartment, okay, what are you supposed to? What they tell me that I need to walk through. Look for what? Just all these things that as parents we're gonna tell our children. But when you're navigating it all by yourself, how do you figure it out? Right. Google wasn't even that big back then, and that was only maybe 12 years ago. So, yeah. It was,
you know how you figure it out? You do what you did. You plant your feet on solid ground, you put on your armor, and you fight through it until you figure it out. But what's so beautiful is along the way, God brings angels and drops people in your life. And you're like, oh, I need to get classes. You meet a counselor. I got books for you. And you're like, free books. You're like... I'm sure, because God, the word says that he takes care of orphans and widows.
He does.
So you've been taken care of
completely.
It may not feel like enough because it's not the traditional taking care of, and I'm speaking to you from experience, but it's more than enough. Once you digested and registered in your nervous system, it's more than you need. It's abundance. But when you look at it with the glass half full, you're like, I don't have my parents. I don't have this, and I'm this, and I'm that.
Yes,
you're not going to see it. You're not going to feel the richness. You're going to dwell in it. And
the lack,
okay, don't dwell in the lack.
You don't want to do that ever. And it's so tempting. Like, that's so,
yes.
Because you're constantly, because it's like, especially if you're looking to the left and to the right, what this person has, what this person doesn't. Oh, you're measuring yourself among yourself. Yeah. And you're always going to measure up short because you are missing that foundation. But you're right. God comes in and he fills all those gaps. He fills all those spaces. And he does it so abundantly that it's just what you needed, It's better than, the standard way because it's for you.
It's personally for me. It's personally for you. It's not what you get is not what I'm going to get. We're going to all get what we are supposed to get. That's why it's not... there's no competition.
Right.
You're your own competition because what I'm getting, God is not going to give to the next person. Exactly. So why are we competing? You focus on you. I'm going to focus on me and we're going to get this.
Right. Exactly. And that's what I said too. I said, that's why I don't fight. That's why I don't compete because what is for me is for me and I don't want what's yours.
Right.
And I don't want what anybody else has. So... yeah, that was the process for me, actually, and I'm just now stepping into, like, unpacking these things because I have been so, like, head down, because, like you mentioned, I finished college.
Talk about that.
I went back. Yeah, I went back. I got my AA. It took me, the standard 4 years. No, just kidding. No, but, yeah.
Yeah, because 4 years is 6 now.
Right.
So,
yeah. I got my AA from El Camino, and then I went back. I went straight through. I went to Cal State LA, and got my degree there, my bachelor's. And then I took the year once I was done. I done so well working with kids in Compton, Compton Unified, as like a tutor during my undergrad. That they brought me on to stay. They asked me to stay. So for that year, I was able to be a college and career coordinator at one of the middle schools, and that's the first time that they had ever done that program to bring us in. And college and career advice.
Do you see that?
I was like, wow.
Do you see
Look
that?
at God. Exactly. It was amazing, and it was so fun. I loved working with the youth, and actually working with them inspired me to pursue my lifelong dream, which was to become an attorney, a licensed attorney. So I'm in the process of doing that right now. I'm going through my licensing
But
requirements.
what did you went to law school?
I went to law school.
Okay,
Oh
you
my
just
gosh.
graduated from law
Yes,
school.
I
Talk
graduated from
about
law
that,
school.
girl.
It was that was the highlight of my career so far. I loved it.
You did? You love law school?
I loved it. And so many people I talked to, they're like, oh, I hate it. It's so terrible. Oh my gosh, there's so much reading and so much studying. But I'm just sitting in classes like, oh wow, I can't believe I'm really here. Like, this is awesome.
You had taken it all in,
Yeah.
and that is, I aspire to go to law school.
Yeah?
Yeah, you inspired me.
wow.
I it's always been like in the back of my mind, but then watching you and looking at you and seeing you go through your law program, I'm like, I should just do it.
It's very
I don't know if I
worth
want to practice law. I just want to know the law because I work in the law, like with family law. But you.
Definitely.
Yes. So
I
what's your
encourage everybody
concentration?
to do it. Yeah, actually, so when I went in, I was so gung-ho about criminal.
Okay.
And I think maybe because seeing, like, my father and my brother and experiences that they had and just feeling like, wow, the system seems it seems quite intricate. It seems like it has some moving pieces that we need to dig deeper into. So I study criminal law, and that's what my concentration is in. But upon graduation, I actually was able to clerk for a judge.
Really?
Yeah, I worked for a judge.
That's cool.
Yeah, back in my law school days, and it was so awesome. It was so awesome being in a criminal courtroom.
Okay.
But it also showed me, like, wow, this is made for a special type of person. I'm not sure about me. But,
okay.
Yeah, but I had already put so much work in that I think I will still definitely do scholarship in that area and research because I'm very passionate about understanding how the system is working and what it's doing, especially, like, you know, in terms of, like, Black men and things like that. But nevertheless, the law is so good in that you can take those skills that you learn and you can transition them from one path to another.
You can.
Once you,
and that's pretty awesome. I think you'd be good in dependency court too.
Oh wow, that's
dependency
so funny.
attorney.
Oh wow.
If I were to do it, I would do dependency attorney. That way you'd be in the court. What is it, Edelman?
Yeah, sure my gosh. Oh my
Imagine
gosh,
going back to Edelman and now you're representing yourself. Like you're representing a kid. They need us. So that was what my spirit was led me. It's like, you need to do dependency court. Go back to Edelman and represent these kids that was in that white van. You remember that white van? Mom, you remember the white van? The white van, yes. Like, go back to that. That's where we came from.
I've been to Edelman so many times. It's not even... Like, I went there as a kid, and then in law school, I did street law clinic. So we would actually go to Edmund D. Edelman, the children's court, and we would have participate in seminars with judges there.
That is awesome.
And then when I was in college...
It's across the street.
Yeah. and before that, when I was in college, I actually volunteered there. Not at the actual site, but with the kids from there. Free arts for abused children.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would like to do something like that.
Free arts is amazing. I love their program. I hope they're still around. That was like so many years ago. But yeah, I volunteered with them, and it was so fun. You get to do arts and crafts with the kids.
So maybe look into family dependency court.
That's something. I definitely have people that I know that do that. So.
See, cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what's your greatest accomplishment today?
Oh gosh, I would say my kids.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say my kids in law school, finishing law school, but mostly, you know, my daughter.
How old is your daughter now?
She's 12.
She's 12.
She'll be 13 next month.
And you have a son.
I have a son.
How old is he?
He is so small. He'll be he'll be 2 August. So what month are we in? June now. So he's like 22 months. Yeah.
A few months. You have a 2-year-old.
Yeah, my kids.
I don't want to hold you because I know you got to trek all the way back, and I really appreciate you coming. But
thank you so much.
If there was a little young girl or little boy sitting here listening to both of us, what would you tell them? What inspiration would you tell them?
I would say, don't hold on to the stigma. but get all you can from it. Get all you can from this experience, but don't hold on to the stigma. If you can manage to separate the two, you will do great. You will be all right. You know, hold on, take advantage of whatever the government has to offer you. Don't feel bad about it. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that you are in this situation. It's not your fault that your situation is unique, that is different. And matter of fact, embrace it. Embrace that and take advantage of every resource that is available to you, because those are meant to help you succeed where maybe your birth parents could not. So be grateful and embrace that, and don't take it for granted. Like, really appreciate it. And then, at the same time as you do that, reject the stigma. So don't take on that burden that that the world tries to place on you. Oh, because you're an orphan, or you're whatever they might say. They tried to tell me I was unwanted. I was going to be just like my so and so. I was going to end up dead. I was going to end up in jail. I pushed all those things away from me. I pushed every negative thing that somebody tried to put on me. I pushed it away, and I embraced who God says I am. Who do I believe I am? And I took my destiny in my own hands.
Yes.
Yeah. I trusted God's plan, not those people's plan. I didn't know what they was talking about.
And you knew, because you knew you had this. You knew that you were special. Did you know? At what point did you know that you were chosen?
Oh,
because
gosh.
God chooses those to be us. We're chosen to represent these kids. And every other emancipated youth or foster youth, you're chosen too.
Yeah.
You're chosen. This isn't an easy life. This life is intended to kill you. And I didn't want to have a show like that. We know that. We know that there's some lack of in the county system on the state level. We know that. But we also know that if you dig deep within you, you can make it. It all boils down to how bad do you want your life. And as you see, she wanted her life. So we're here to encourage you not to give up, to keep fighting, to keep pushing. But it starts within you. Nobody gonna make you do anything. Nobody's gonna make you do anything. However, there are criterias though. So you and I were able to get the resources that we got because we were scholars. We were into school. I was an athlete, and so I was able to take honor classes and college prep classes because I had teachers and counselors that saw that within me. But there are those kids who weren't into school like us. They didn't have the nuclear home where the mom did not date for 18 years and she devoted all of her time and her energy to her baby. Let's talk about those kids that are not getting these resources. Because the resources, you got to qualify.
Yeah.
You didn't just get them because you're pretty. You didn't just get them because you graduated high school. Right. You got them because you were exceptional.
Yeah.
But it's those kids that there are still some. There's a huge percentage. I believe 50% of us don't make it.
Choose life. Yeah, you have to choose life. Choose your own life. Because really, to be honest with you, Mai, and everyone watching, really, I actually did hit a very low point. I had stopped going to school. I was pregnant with my daughter. I was 17 years old. I tried to go to school one day or two, and all people were talking about was, oh, I heard she's pregnant, blah, 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 because I wasn't fully, showing it. Okay. But people had heard rumors. And, it was a lot of just negativity and just hurtful things that people were saying about me. And I stopped going. I said, I don't need this. And, my mom would try to wake me up. She worked 40 hours a week. She had to go on and press on in her situations. But she would try to come wake me up for school. I'm not going. Eventually, she stopped.
Okay, she did?
Yeah, she stopped. She's just, okay, all right, well, I got to go. And, I would lay in bed all day, or I would go and try to hang out with my friends, just anything just to pass the time, because I was so miserable and I had given up on myself. But it was at some point where I said, I have a daughter, I have somebody I need to live for. And that was my story. But even if even for kids who are not parenting, like, thankfully, you know, I would not wish that story on most people, because that, or anyone really, because that's the tough, you know, situation, be a teen parent.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for that whatsoever. But I'm saying find something that you need to live for. Find your strength, whatever it might be, because that was it for me, my daughter. And that's why when you ask me, I have to say my accomplishment is mainly her, because she is the one who broke the mold for me. And she is the reason why I got up out of bed when I was completely distraught and saw no way up out of my situation. Yeah. And I was able to actually go to a school, an alternative school for pregnant and parenting teens, and I was able to be there around other girls who had big bellies like me, and we were all doing our, you know, assignments and working on our pace and doing what we needed to do to fulfill those classes. I would go to school, I would see girls further along than me, pregnant, and on the computer just trying to, you know, type up this assignment, type up this application.
It inspired you to keep going, to see. You were I tell parents this too, make sure that your kids are in an environment that they can relate to. So basically, you stop going, and that was a telltale sign that something was up. Either you're getting bullied, either you're sick. Those are reasons why you were just all of a sudden went from going to school to not going, because you weren't showing. Did she know yet? Did your mom know that you were?
She knew at that time
that you were pregnant. She just didn't want to fight. But the fact that she didn't want to fight, she didn't want to argue, she probably was a little disappointed in you, you know.
Very much so.
We're
they thought
talk
it was
about
over
that.
for me.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. Before we go, we're gonna will it back into her, because she does deserve some acknowledgement, because you are who you are because of her, right?
Yeah, largely in part.
But it's so you're saying basically you said something so amazing, was that you gotta find that thing that makes you get up.
And out of bed
every morning, and it was your daughter. And so to see her now 12 and thriving in a way that
she's struggling right now. She's like hard-headed season, but but she's happy though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it happens.
She's, you know,
that's all developmental. All the stuff that she's going through now is developmental. But
she has thrived though throughout her life, and I believe that we're gonna work it out.
Yes, you will. For sure. Look at how everything has already worked out.
It comes full circle.
It comes full circle. But you just can't give up in any area, because it comes in all areas. You're like, wait. Well, this area is good, and then something else comes. You're like, dang. But it's life.
Right.
That has nothing to do with being emancipated. That's just life.
Right. It's
and
like
how
whack-a-mole.
Yes.
You get this one, it's like then this one. Yeah.
But it's always an opportunity to grow.
Yeah.
It's always an opportunity to teach, to learn, and to then give back to other people, right?
Yeah.
So, how was your relationship with your mom now? Like your mom, who calls you your daughter?
Yeah. We're actually our relationship overall, I would say, I mean, overall, you know, it's pretty healthy.
Okay.
We're sorting through things. You know, we're kind of in a valley right now because we had a major misunderstanding, and she misunderstood some things about me. I misunderstood some things about her. And also in this healing process for me, I'm trying to like tiptoe around certain things, elements, so that I don't offend her, because I'm so thankful for her. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't want to rob myself or the people who need to hear my story, of my truth. So it's kind of like a tug of war.
Yes.
You know, because she's still in my life, and I want to respect her and honor her for her sacrifices. She made many sacrifices, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm coming kind of into this place of womanhood and identity and ownership. And I would like to own the traumatic things that happened to me, so that I can be a blessing to other people without having to worry, oh, am I going to upset this person?
You can't live for her. You can be mindful of her feelings, and you don't have to, it doesn't have to be bashing. You don't have to bash her. But you have to live for yourself.
Yeah.
Life is about, she lived for herself. She's living for herself. She doesn't, I don't know her personally, but I guarantee she's doing what she wants to make her happy.
No, you're right about that.
So, what I'm going to tell you is to live for you in a classy way. It doesn't have to be in a damaging way, and you can go to her and say it. Hey, this is my story. I love you and I appreciate you, but can't have to do it.
Yeah.
It is not just for you.
Yeah.
Your story wasn't just for you. Your story is for somebody else.
Exactly.
And when you don't do what God called you to do, then you're going to give it away to somebody else.
I know. I heard that one. I don't want that to happen.
Right? So don't be
like,
afraid. Share. The more you share, the better off you feel. You release it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Oh, thank
you.
The
sky is the limit, my love.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
If there's anything else you would like to add, are you working on anything? Are you working on anything creatively right now?
Yeah, so actually it's funny that you pointed that out, that I share my story, because it was with a motive. I was like, you know what? God actually put on my heart to start an organization that provides small business grants to current and former foster youth.
Awesome.
Yes, so Transforming Foster to Favored is the name of the organization, and we're in the workings of it right now.
Awesome.
We're building that.
Okay.
Soliciting grants and donations and applying for grants and things like that to hopefully, give the kids, like the young people that are in the system right now, the opportunity to maybe find that thing, find that thing or create that thing that will get them up out of bed in the morning, because entrepreneurship is big right now. Small business is everything right now. It's not so much like it used to be. Right. So, yeah.
How can they find you?
Okay.
So if they want to get your information to find you so they can tap into the resources when they become available, what is the way for them to find you?
Okay, so personally, I am at Virtuous Char on every social media, on everything, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And if you're looking specifically for the organization, it's transformingfostertofavored.org or Transforming Foster to Favored on Facebook or on Instagram.
Awesome.
And you can connect with us there. Yeah.
Boom,
I hope to help some people.
Yes, that is what it is about. So all of that came back to tell us what you're doing.
Yeah.
See how you are now. That is high five.
Aww.
Keep it up. You inspire me. I definitely think you are exceptional.
Oh, you're
and
so
I only bring exceptional people and beautiful people on my show. So you definitely.
Well, it fits, right?
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. Guys, I wanted to give my people, my emancipated, my youth, my foster youth some information. If you are 16 to 20, there are programs, yes, as we mentioned, actually 16 to 25, I'm sorry, my bad. As we mentioned, there are resources. However, there are criteria that you have to follow. You have to be working towards graduation or getting your GED. You have to have a job. You have to have an address. So these are things that you have to give up in order to get the resources. You can't just go in there and say, I'm an emancipated youth and I need help. They're not going to help you. You're going to be homeless forever. And then you're going to end up not living the life that God called you to live. And so do what it requires to get the resources. It's going to take some work. You might not need to be a little lazy, but it's going to work itself out. Okay? But there is a program. I'm going to put it also on our Facebook page and Instagram, but I'll tell you if you're writing and listening. It's the Steps to Independent Living page. It's ilponline.org. It's a LA County website. They have a lot of information on there. You can also Google Emancipated Youth Resources. They're there, but you got to work for them. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. We are done. We will be back in 2 weeks, two Wednesdays from now. Subscribe and like us, guys. We're on our own page. We're on our own platform on YouTube. Girlfriend's Guide to Life, the show. See ya. Peace. Love you. Thank you for joining us. Follow us on Facebook at Girlfriend's Guide to Life Podcast, the way it's spelled, and on Instagram, Girlfriend's Guide to Life, LYFE. Thanks for listening. Until next time. Peace.